Have you ever had the experience of calling someone by the wrong name? And I don't just mean your kids. Oh, Jack, George. It can be very disconcerting and somewhat embarrassing. I wish you could have been with me the evening that I welcomed guests into my home. My husband had said to me, May, I'd really like for you to meet my boss. We've been riding back and forth together to work, and I'd like for you to meet him. That's good. We'll set that up. I'd enjoy meeting them as well. The evening arrived, and I had everything sparkling in the house. The table was set with china, and the silver was polished. There were fresh flowers on the table. The house smelled wonderful. There was a roast in the oven, and it was making the whole house smell great. And the moment arrived, the doorbell rang, and we went to the door. My husband opened the door. He looked at these people whom I had never seen before, and he looked at them and looked at me and said, I'd like for you to meet my wife, Lucy. Lucy? Who's this Lucy he's talking about? I may have red hair, but I'm not Lucille Ball. Lucy? And what am I going to do? Do I let these people think that I'm Lucy? What do I say? And then it dawned on me. Lucy was the name of his first wife. I smiled. I stepped forward and said, my name is May. We're glad you're here. You know, sometimes you can also be very confused about what someone is trying to say to you. At one time, I drove a very large Ford pickup truck. And I say it was very large. It was a 350. And you can't see the truck, but it's a really big truck. And I'm a really little person. If I stand on my tippy toes, I can almost see 5'1.5". Getting out of that truck was a real experience. I have to just kind of slither out. So I know a lot of times people would be laughing at me, but I did. One day I got out of the truck to put gas in it. Well, actually diesel fuel. And as I was putting the diesel fuel in the truck, I heard this voice behind me. This man said, hey, lady. I looked around. Hey, lady, he says. Hey, lady, how do you like your truck? My truck? I like it fine. That's the finest pickup truck that Ford has ever made. That 350 with that 72 engine. Do you want to sell it? Do I want to sell my truck? He was lusting after my truck, not after me. I was in a restaurant one evening having dinner with a friend, and there hadn't been any seats, and we sat at the bar. And as we were having dinner, two seats opened up next to me, and these two very nice young men came in and sat down. And they both, I think they were probably in construction. They had on Carhartt jackets and jeans. And we struck up a conversation. And it was about the weather and various inane things. But one of them kept talking to me. And finally, he looked over at me and he said, no, You're just a really amazing woman. Thank you. I appreciate that. He looks back, he says, I have something I really need to tell you. As he looks deep into my eyes, May, you remind me of my grandmother. Grandmother, I didn't miss a beat. I appreciate that. That's the best pickup line I've heard in a very long time. I was at the airport one day, and it was one of those days. If you've ever been flying, you've been there when it was one of those days. The weather's bad, the planes are grounded, the weather's bad somewhere else, the flights aren't coming in, flights are canceled, people are upset, they're trying to get places. And I had worked my way up almost to the ticket counter when this man came pushing and shoving through the crowd, and he approached the ticket agent. He had on a suit, but he looked somewhat disheveled. It was one of those days at the airport. And he says to her, I have to be on this flight. And she said, sir, if you wait just a moment, I will be with you as quickly as I can. I have to be on this flight. You need to fix it now. Do you know who I am? She looked at him. She picked up the microphone and over the loudspeaker said, ladies and gentlemen, we have a passenger here who doesn't know who he is. Could anyone help us? Said it. He turned red as a beet. He was so angry. And he looked at her and he made a very nasty suggestion to her. And he said, and I will also get you fired. And she looked at him and said, I'm sorry, sir, you'll have to wait in line for that as well. There are some times that we just need to be told who we are. I've always wondered who he was.